students. Today our new topic is price elasticity of demand, also known as EP of D. Well, elasticity is the degree to which the desire for something changes as its prices rise. In general, people desire things less as those things become more expensive. Well, students, a higher demand elasticity for a particular economic variable means that consumers are more responsive to the change in this variable. You can say when you classify the variables, you can say variables are such as price or income. If they are changing, so it is showing the effect on demand elasticity, or nature of the goods. If there are certain changes in the goods, then also it make changes for a certain demand also. Availability of substitutes, large number of consumers, habits of the consumers, ranges of prices, or several users of products. So these all are the variables which affects a higher demand elasticity. If we give a particular formula for EPD, then how we have to calculate the elasticity for a certain demand? Percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. Again, as we can see, this is computed in percentage. So elasticity is shown, the changes are always shown in percentage. Further, for example, if the price of a daily newspaper rises from rupee 1 to rupees 1.20 paisa, and the daily sales fall from 5 lakh to 2 lakh 50,000. So in this case, the price elasticity will be, as I say, percentage change in quantity demanded. So it is just half, minus 50, and percentage changes in prices. As you can see, earlier it was rupee 1 and it rises to rupees 1.20 paisa. So the percentage changes in the price was plus 20. Well, here it is showing the false in the demand, that the answer is coming minus 2.5. The negative sign indicates that price and quantity are inversely related. You can say that the price and demand relationships also. Well, the newspaper supplier can estimate. Now this formula is useful for the supplier because through this elasticity of demand, the newspaper supplier can estimate how revenue will be affected by this change in price. Here we have taken one thing more, that is the revenue. Okay. In this case, revenue at rupee 1 is, earlier the price of the newspaper were rupee 1 and the consumers were 5 lakh. So we were getting, the supplier was getting rupees 5 lakh. But as the prices goes up, so the revenue also fall down and falls to rupees 3 lakh after the price rise. Now this 1 rupee 1.20 and customers 5 lakh were 2 lakh 50,000. So now the revenue changed into 3 lakh. Since changes in price and quantity usually more in opposite directions, usually we don't put in the minus signature. It applies in the case of changes in price and quantity when it shows in opposite directions. Well, students, as I say that there are many factors which affect the incomes. These are the groups, elements of time, and the patterns of income distribution. Practical importance of this concept is why we use this price elasticity of demand not only for the supplier, dealer, consumer, that it is also useful in other aspects. First, it is helpful in taking the business decisions. The suppliers, the distributors, the manufacturers take several decisions regarding the demand elasticity. Second, this practical importance of this concept is formulating the tax policies of the government. According to the elasticity of demand, the government uses to make flexible changes on the tax policies also. Another importance is to determine the term of trades between the two countries. So it is also helpful in the international trade. For determining the rewards of the factors of effects on employment also. So this price elasticity of demand is also making effect on employment also, and to determine the factor of production also. Well, further, if we discuss the chapter, let us see what are the types or degree of price elasticity of demand. Here, first is the perfectly elastic demand. We denote it by this sign, EP equals to infinity. Second, perfectly inelastic demand. Here it is shown by EP equals to 0. Third is relatively elastic demand, where EP is greater than 1. Fourth is relatively inelastic demand. The EP is smaller than 1. And last one is the unitarily elastic demand. And here the formula says EP equals to 1. Now let us take it one by one. Now the first diagram. The first diagram is related with the perfectly elastic demand. Here this is for the price and this line is for the quantity. As the quantity demanded increases by unlimited quantity with a small fall in price. You can see there is a small fall in the price. So in this case, quantity demanded falls to O with a small rise in the price. Here by this diagram, what we understand? We understand that the demand is perfectly elastic. That means it has if there are certain changes in the prices, so there are certain changes are seen in the quantity also with a small rise in price. If there is small rise in the price, then also the quantity changes. And here this EP is equals to infinite. Second diagram is for the perfectly inelastic demand. Here again you can see the price and the quantity through P1, P and P2, and these are showing the demand. Well, the demand remains constant whatever may be the price. Okay, here there are no certain changes in the demand. Either the prices are increasing or decreasing. The demand is as it is. So in that case, perfectly inelastic demand, the elasticity of price is always equals to 0. So you can see there are no certain changes in the case of perfectly inelastic demand. Well, the third diagram is for the relatively elastic demand. Here this is shown through EP. Here this elasticity of demand is greater than 1. EP is greater than 1. Well, again here you can see that the prices were earlier P went to P1 and the quantity was M and it moves to M1. Percentage change in demand is greater than change in price. You can see there was small changes in the price, but the changes were greater in the demand. So percentage, again as we say that the changes are always computed in percentage, so that is called the relatively elastic demand, and that's why the equation is always greater than 1. So prices are showing smaller changes, but the demand is showing the greater changes. Next, fourth one. The fourth elasticity is related with the relatively inelastic demand, where the elasticity is smaller than 1. Here P, earlier it was P, then it moves to P1, then the quantity shifted to a smaller phase. Percentage changes in the quantity, here you can see earlier it was this, then it moves to quantity moves there. Demanded is less, so you can see it is very much clear here. Demanded is less, then the percentage changes in price, but here the percentage in the percentage was greater in the price. That's why the elasticity is less than 1. Fifth way, the last one is the unitary elasticity of demand, where you can see the elasticity is greater than 1. Here, as you can see, the price were earlier this and it moves to this, and the quantity shifted again to a very small portion. So here this elasticity is equals to 1. Well students, goods for which price elasticity is less than 1, here less than 1, it was this, is calculated inelastic, as demand for, if I give you example for egg or salt, is inelastic. Inelastic why? Because it has very few substitutes. Lower percentage of income spent on goods demand. Now lower, the prices were showing a minor change, and here the demanded also shows a minor change, so it covers the unitary elasticity of demand. So the lower percentage of income spent on goods demand tends to be relatively inelastic, and less time to adjust becomes more elastic as time. Here it is equals to 1. As the time passes and adjustment made, the greater the percentage of the consumer budget spent on the goods, the more elastic is the demand. Thus, we can see that the lower percentage of income spent on goods makes the demand inelastic, and less time adjustment again makes it more elastic as the time passes. And if we are spending more percentage of our money, of our budget to on the goods or services, then the demand becomes more elastic. More elastic means it shows changes very quickly. Now this was actually how we discuss about the demand elasticity and how we classify those according to the diagrams and according to certain factors, and what are the uses of this theory. In our next chapter, we will discuss other things related with demands. Thanks.